I do exactly see it, and that barrier, and I call that barrier a curtain,
Yeah.
a fog that blurs your vision, and that comes from a perspective, and
Mhm.
that actually puts us to the next topic that we're gonna talk about, which is brainstorming. But perspective can be the bridge to it. Thinking about a subject or a task or a project or a person or anything, the
Mhm.
way you come from and thinking about it is going to determine what direction your thoughts are going to head to, which are going to
Yeah.
create the actions. So having to come from the right place towards a project is the first step. People think the
Yeah.
first step starts when you get to the project. No, you have to have the right perspective and then go start it with the right perspective. Another example, opening a business. You cannot open a business and hope and start thinking, oh, what if customers don't come? What if they don't pay? What if this? I have to pay 5,000 rent. I have to pay $3,000 more employee cost. This much payroll. That much insurance. What if no one comes? I'm gonna go negative. Those are all negative thoughts that create the blurriness, that create that wall that holds you back from getting it. But if you think of positive way, and if you focus on the positive, not just positive, uh, positive actionable things that you can do and create momentum, even if you get it at that second, if you keep on honing your skills towards how to sell to a customer, how to price your products accordingly, dude, you're gonna get it. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
time, you know. So the same thing goes over here. Perspective leads us to the next subject, which is
Yeah.
going to be the brainstorming. And I'm personally very curious, and I think our viewers are going to find a lot of knowledge out of this too. Ange, how
Yeah.
do you like, for example, how did you go about brainstorming the Ange TV show and coming up with the brand and creating this entire media news company that's going to become an empire? Because I see how much work you put in, and I see how much uh, excuse me, I see how much positive impact you make on
Yeah.
YouTube specifically. I've been following you for a while now. But
Mhm.
how do you go about brainstorming all that and doing it?
Well, first off, I just want to say how this all started. It's been a year I've been on YouTube, by the way, guys. I started during the pandemic in March, very, very, very early on in the pandemic when there was a big wave of people doing shows, podcasts. I was one of the earliest ones to do it. And then we just saw the flurry of what is now a podcast society. Like that's what it's turning to. 2020 to into 2021, it's one of the hottest growing things.
Right.
Now, I want to explain something. How I started. Listen, the first thing I said is I want to make a name that nobody has. Okay, I want to name. First of all, the name has to have my name in there. Okay, so if my name is in there, when people follow me, they'll know that's Ange, not
Right.
that's I don't know the tree or something. You know what I mean? Like it's Ange. You know who the person is. You could identify with the person. That's why I say when you do reaction videos, I just it's like you're doing reaction videos of bands or other people, but at the end of the day, people follow you because they follow that band, right? I want
Absolutely.
people to follow me because they like my content. You understand? Now, when I started, like I said, I came up with an original name. I didn't want a name too long because they say that names are usually 2 to 3 syllables. But anyways, so I created a
To
short
have a
name.
punchline. Yes, you're
Yeah,
on
a
point
short
with
name
that.
that's just like you know exactly what it is. It's a TV show, it's a YouTube show, whatever. Um, the first thing was the name. Okay, the first video I did it was about the coronavirus. Why? Because I wanted to do something that's very, very in demand right now, like what people are talking about. Whatever I put out, it's got to be something that people are talking
Relevant.
about. Relevant,
That's such a
trending.
good topic you just hopped on. I'm making a note. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So you want to take something that's relevant, something with a shock value. Okay. And like I said, it comes down to the thumbnail, it comes down to the title, the content, the person you have on to talk about that subject. Now, when I started, guys, it was towards the end of the sketch comedy type of YouTube that we've seen. Before it was more of like an upload a video, do something funny, that kind of stuff. Like even like Shane Dawson type of stuff. You know what I mean? But it changed a lot when I came on. Now it's more of like a podcast type of thing. YouTube, I find like even the big YouTubers that do something that doesn't have to do with a podcast are doing podcasts because of the situation with the coronavirus, which is very different in the U.S. In the U.S., you guys are much closer to herd immunity. than where I live. Where I live, we're going to be stuck in this for God knows how long because of the slow moving vaccines and the restrictions provincially here where I live. But still, I still think podcasting is going to be very popular even after the pandemic. It's just something that people are starting to really like. Now,
Right.
so I started different videos, rants, reaction videos, story time, and people I would go with what people say. The story times they love the most, so I used to always do story time, story time, story time.
Tell us more about that story times. What does that mean? If you were to describe in one sentence, what is a story time?
Okay, a story time is basically you just take a story that you experienced and then you just make a video about it and explain that story. It could be
Nice.
a funny story, it could be an embarrassing story, whatever it is. It's something that happened to you. It's part of it's storytelling. You know what I mean? You're trying to make an audience
A
entertain an audience.
personal experience or so.
Yeah, you want to make them laugh. You want to give them a reason to watch it. And the reason why people watch me is because it was kind of comical. Because I would say personal stories, my first dates. The time somebody a hobo
Those are always
so,
interesting.
like, random stuff that happened to me. The time I went to the strip club and my car broke down, like
Oh
basically
my
I
God.
got a flat tire and then we were stuck and we called the police for a flat tire.
Oh my God. And
That
that
goes
flat tire cost you probably 4 times more because you had to pay the police too, or that's not how it
well,
works over
actually,
there.
the police just told us, like, what are you doing calling us? I call a tow truck. And that's a long story too. I had no cash, by the way, when I broke my tire, not slashed.
Yeah, went out.
It slashed because I was using my brother's tires, and it was the wrong size, and it got cut like a can opener.
Oh my God.
So
Too much pressure.
yeah, so like little stories like that, I decided to do. But then I said, is story time really gonna take your channel to the next level? And I'll give you the answer right now. How many channels do you see, big channels in the millions, that do story time? There's not a lot, right? I mean, if you look
Not
at the
that
big
many.
channels right now, you have the PewDiePie, you have PewDiePie, he's gaming. That's gaming. You have kids TV shows, kids shows, which is something I was thinking of doing, Gore, but there's just it's really complicated when it comes to kids shows, the youth and everything. There's just a lot of
With the
controversy.
restrictions and everything,
Yeah,
they
there's
definitely made it.
restrictions, there's the cancel culture. It's something. If I were to do that, it wouldn't be me as the face of it. You understand, Gore? If I were to
Definitely.
do it, it would be a kid show, but there wouldn't be me involved in it. My
Right. You
idea is,
would be behind the scenes.
yeah, maybe even you know what, Gore? I would do voice acting for a kid show. Why not? I know plenty
That's
of people.
the voiceovers. That's another great idea. Actually, voiceovers create a lot of. I
Yeah,
watch a lot of voiceover stories on history, where
really.
they just have where they just have just slideshows of pictures, and someone is doing a voiceover just telling you like what happened down the line in history. And those for me, yes, because I'm personally, when I watch look when I see it and I hear it, I don't forget it. But if I just
Yeah,
hear it, it's hard to process it. I'm a visual person, so that's why reading a book, it doesn't stick as much as looking at a picture and then being heard, or like, you get what I mean. So it
yeah.
works for me. I found the hack to myself, like I'll put it to like 500-page book, I'll finish it in like 5 days in an audiobook form. But a
Mhm.
500-page book in a hard copy, probably a year and a half until I
Really.
finish it. Yeah, so
You know, it's funny.